let us say hello to jiu-jitsu royalty. What a huge honor. What a great privilege this is. Again, 4-time ADCC gold medalist, 5-time World BJJ gold medalist, 1-time Pan American champion, 3-time Brazilian national champion, member of the IBJJF and ADCC Hall of Fame, wins over the likes of Renzo Gracie and Kron Gracie, who's, of course, coming back this weekend to the UFC, Jake Shields, Robert Drysdale, Babalu Sobral, Gabriel Gonzaga, Damian Maia, Shinya Aoki, on and on and on it goes. The one and only Marcelo Garcia, who is returning to action in 2025 for one championship. There he is, kind enough to join us. Hello, sir. Great to have you on the show.
Ariel? Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
It's a great pleasure and honor, and nice to speak to a fellow New Yorker, if you will, an adopted New Yorker. You've done such great things for the community here in New York, and I know you recently, I think you either opened or are opening a gym in Hawaii, right?
Yes, I'm living in Hawaii for the last 2 years.
Okay, well, there you are, and I don't blame you. It's a much better life out there. The weather is tremendous, so well done. You announced in November that you are going to be competing for one. You're turning 42 in January. Why come back to active competition?
Oh, Ariel, I don't know if people know, but I never retired, so I just took a time off. I was competing, and I felt I want to focus in my gym, focus on my students, and I did that. And in that meantime, I have my kids, and then I felt like life went upside down, you know what I mean? Once my kids was born, and then I took so much time be around them, and now they're getting old. I feel like they're going to be happy to see their dad go compete, and I don't want to miss the opportunity. I don't wait to me get any older, so obviously we're not get any younger, you know. So I feel like the time is now, since I still have that feeling, you know.
How old are your kids?
9 and 11.
Okay, so they know who you are. They know what you've done, and they've never seen you,
Yes.
like they don't have any recollection of you competing, right?
Yeah, but that's what is fun, you know what I mean? Like now they understand what I'm doing. They understand that I'm not just like their dad making the dish, you know what I mean, clean their stuff, you know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot that they can learn, watch me compete, you know, because win or lose, I feel like they can learn based on like how is my behaviors, you know what I mean?
Sure.
On those circumstances, you know.
Do they train in jiu-jitsu?
They just started, since I just opened the gym over here, and we didn't have kids program before in New York. Now we have like a beautiful kids program over there. So they just started in New York, and then we moved to Hawaii. And now, since I just opened the gym over here, they just started over here. So they're brand new, white belt.
And by the way, why did you move to Hawaii?
I was during the pandemic. You know, New York was shut down. My gym was completely shut down over a year. And I felt like that was the best thing I could do. My kids have a little bit of like a normal life during the pandemic, since the numbers of COVID was so low. And then when everything started opening up, I was like, okay, I need to go back to New York. That was always like my plan. Things start opening up, I need to go back there to try save the gym. And we did that, and we kept our space. And obviously, like I bring my kids with me, and then after a year, they didn't get used to the city, they didn't get used to the school, and they were like, okay, we're going back, and then we came back to Hawaii.
Wow.
Long story short.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Was that a scary time for you to be in the heart of New York and the business close with no end in sight?
Oh yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to process. I mean, like my kids, especially my daughter, she was considered like a high risk. I mean, for the virus that nobody know what's going on. So that was pretty scary. And then obviously like the business way, to make a leave of something that like we couldn't even get close to each other. It was really scary, but nothing much scary than all the stuff that we kind of go through life. You know what I mean?
Sure, and you would know. You beat stomach cancer in 2023. How was that experience? How scary was that? And how are you feeling now?
Oh, feeling great. Yeah. When people ask me about like, I almost forgot all the symptoms. You know what I mean, from the treatment. I pretty much almost forget, and I try hard to just don't remember that. But feels like a pretty like a much like a heal. I know we can only say we cure after 5 years, but my first 2 years is very important to hit that mark. I'm really looking for that. But I gotta say, it's kind of like a weird to face like a death. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
what I felt. I mean.
And now you're in the clear, cancer free.
Yes, against the field for a year and a half.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's incredible. And I hope
Thank
it
you.
remains that way and you live a very long and healthy life. How did the deal with One Championship come about? Did they reach out to you or did you reach out to them?
Oh, Ariel, people is being reach out for me a lot, and I felt like every grappling organization have reached out, and some people that I know, some friends, you know what I mean, and lucky like is a very close friend of mine who organized like the managed the grappling, who is Lau Vieira. So he was able to just kind of like get close to me, and then I felt like captivated by the propose. I feel like they understand my situation, that I'm coming back, you know what I mean? So I feel like very happy with the one championship, everything like just matched, and I feel like it was the right time. I don't think there's a perfect time. I feel like if I was keep looking, waiting for the perfect time, it would be like too late. So I feel like it was just the right time, you know what I mean?
Okay. And so as of right now, neither one nor yourself have announced who you'll be competing against. And I do believe that you are ready to make that announcement, right?
I believe, I don't. I thought you already know.
No, well, I know in advance, but I want to give the floor to you.
I'm going to compete against Imanari, the
Yes.
MMA legend.
Yes. Masakazu Imanari, the creator of the Imanari roll.
Yes, yes. Leg lock attacks,
Yes. And when is this going down?
January 24 in Thailand, one of the places that I would wish to be,
Okay.
to visit.
And what will be the rules? Will it be gi or no gi?
No gift for sure,
And
just grappling.
just grappling and what kind of time?
10 minutes round, I believe.
Just one round?
Yes.
And how did we, because I saw one was asking, will it be this person? Will it be that, Shinya Aoki, Cade Rotolo, other names like that? How did we end up with the legend Imanari?
It was definitely supposed to be Shin Aoki, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But I
wow.
guess like we took a long time to organize the contract, to go over all the stuff, you know what I mean? And he ended up signing up with another opponent, so I end up now facing Manari. So I believe it's gonna be a good fight.
And so how do you feel about that? Like when it ended up being Imanari, how did you feel about that?
I don't know. Just from the names that I guess you mentioned before that I compete before, I never really choose opponent.
Yeah.
I never like a base to go compete on who was gonna compete, and even my training was never based on my opponent. I just based my training like to go compete against the best one. So I never really thought about my opponent. Now obviously now I have a name, so now I know who I can focus to, but it was never really much about the opponent. I just feel like I just want to have that feeling to just be out there again. That was something that I've been missing for the last like a good 10 years. I've been missing a lot, but obviously I was so busy at home with my family. So I feel like now is the time, and to have that feeling to not know what's gonna happen. And when I say no, I know what's gonna happen. Like, I have a plan. I really know something happening. I really plan to like to get a submission, get like a dominant performance. I hope I can display like a very excited match. But at the same time, like you just never know what could happen. And I feel like that's what was missing the most, in my life going compete.
Your last competitive match, when was that? How long ago?
Uh, was in 2011. Feels like a
Wow.
long time ago, but it was a very good year. So it was a very good memories because that year I won the Mundial with the gi, and a couple months later I won the Abu Dhabi, who's the biggest like no gi tournament in the world, like in no gi.
Yes. And so here we are some 13 or 14 years later. You will be competing again. And you say that you don't really prepare for an opponent, but considering Imanari is known for the leg locks, will you work a little bit more on defending those?
Um, just so people know, Ariel, I'm pretty open about that. Like, I don't like to exchange like a foot ankle lock attack. I feel like it's almost like a 50% chance. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's one of the only moves that, like, when you attack someone, the person can attack you back with the same move. Different than guillotine, different than like a rear neck choke. You know what I mean? When you attack somebody with the guillotine or rear neck choke, like you have to do just with defend yourself. You cannot really attack back. So it's a part of the game that I don't like to risk. I want to have like the odds on my favor. So my whole point is like I'm just not getting into his game.
Uh,
I believe I have a good defense. I believe like I have trained that for my entire life because I don't want to be on that gamble scenario. On that gamble that like I have less chance than my opponent. I feel like I want to go where I have most of the chance, where it's like on my game, on my attacks, and that's what I was planning to. You know?
as you prepare and train for this, do you pause your teaching? Are you fully just investing in yourself, or are you still doing both?
Ariel, I that's one of those reasons why I feel like I want to come back because I still feel like I have a lot to teach to my students, to people who follow my career, to people that enjoy to see my techniques. Uh, Ariel, I always did most of the training by myself. I have my coach Fábio Gugel, but he's in Brazil. And since I moved like to US in 2006, you know, I've been training with only my students, and people knows that my students will witness that, and I feel like it's not going to be now that I'm going to change that. And my point is like I believe you're able to train with your students. I believe you're able to continue to teach because a big part of my learn my techniques. I believe like those results that you mentioned before, they came because I was always like exposed to teach every day. I feel like it's a big part of my learn process. If I'm teaching,
Mm.
I'm teaching because like I'm constantly discussing with my students like during class, before class, after class. So that makes me think. That makes me like a better competitor. I'm not saying it's easy, but I feel like that's what I did my entire life, preparing to those big tournaments. You know,
Are you coming back for one last match, or do you think you'll have several more now?
no less match. You know, I mean, I don't have those plans. You know, what I mean, I believe to do a lot more after this one.
Are there plans to compete in any of the big, tournaments, as you mentioned, ADCC, and there's a lot of them popping up now. Do you want to compete for those or just one championship?
Obviously now I'm one and I'm exclusive
Okay,
fighter for the one, but I know I have like a freedom to go to IBJJF, Abu Dhabi, those tournaments. I believe, you know what I mean? As long there's no like a conflict with dates, and this is my first match back. I don't want to think too far ahead. You
sure,
know,
sure.
I just think like this is not gonna be my last one. I'm not planning to do that because I miss that too much. And since it's been like a 13 years since I don't compete, and reality, Ariel, like I have a very strong mind. Like I can stay like a good time without compete, and I go compete like just how I left the last time. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how I would like to go to this match. You know.
What's fascinating about this is you're a legend coming back to active competition, and the landscape is very different from when you last competed some 13 years ago. Different characters, and then, like I said, different players involved. Could I ask, what is your take on the state of competitive jiu-jitsu? With Craig Jones and his invitational going up against ADCC and IBJJF and the UFC now signing people exclusive like Mikey Musumeci, won championship doing it. What is your take on the state of it right now?
Yeah, I just want to be part of this. You know, I mean, I just don't want to leave that behind. You know, I see how much like the sport is growing. I just want to enjoy this. I think I did a lot to the sport and to see how far they went. And I still feel like I have an age. I have desire. I feel good on my body. I was a long time like stuck with that treatment, with that cancer treatment. Like I just want to enjoy everything that you just mentioned. I can see the sport growing, and I feel like I can be part of that. You know, I feel like um, for example, like where jiu-jitsu are today, you know, it just like just feels better. You know, what I mean, it feels like a more appreciated. You know, to go compete to this level of events. You know.
There is a hot topic, I think, in jiu-jitsu, the use of performance-enhancing drugs. People speak openly about it, and others say they don't want anything to do with it. A person who's very much against it is Mikey Musumeci. We have others who talk about using it freely. How do you feel about the use of PEDs in jiu-jitsu and the way it may be abused?
Oh, I would love to talk about that. I don't know. Maybe you feel like a hard topic, and maybe that's why other people doesn't ask me that too much. You know what I mean? But I wish to talk about I wish to talk a lot about that.
Please.
And with all the like conquer that you mentioned before that I did, I believe for myself, I'm the only one that can prove for myself that I never have to use any of those things. You know what I mean? And to feel that like probably a lot of people was using at that time, they're competing against me, and to feel that a lot of like young people today, they need to use that, and to feel that I never have to, is a big accomplishment for myself. When I say for myself, like, because I cannot make other people believe in me, but to know that I never have to do that, and to remember like everything I did with the opponents that probably they're using that, feels good. But that's one of those reasons, like, I feel like I still want to be involved to the sport, because I feel like you don't need that, Ariel. I feel like you just need to have like a desire to be there. When I say desire, like I'm there to prove like I'm better than my opponent. I'm there to prove like that I work really hard, that I'm going to display like the best technique possible. I want to go there to prove that like I have developed like a better technique. I'm there to prove, to show to people that watch, they're like I have a very refined technique. So I don't need like those people. It's been quite like a gears, I mean, they just like they put extra gears, I mean, I never need that. So I'm still here to prove that I don't need that now.
Do you think it is a problem in the sport? Do you think it is being used too much?
I'm sorry, Al, but I think it's a problem. I don't think, like for example, look how frustrated I am. I grew up with a lot of people use around me. I see people use that around me, and I was lucky to nobody ever told me I need to use that. What I'm trying to say, like my coach, everybody knew that I was big, I was strong. That nobody never told me to even use that, so I was lucky that, and I never felt like I need that either, because I thought I was a big kid. Today I'm not a big kid anymore. Today I'm a small adult, and based on all my results, I feel like I don't need that. But at the same time, Ariel, like growing up, I was in the gym all day. I was not much like in school, but people was telling me like, oh, you got to be careful with that, because you can. I remember clear, like, you can get cancer. You know what I mean? If you use like hormone stuff like that. That's something that somebody mentioned to me, and that also like scared me. You know what I mean? Because I lost my mom by cancer, and I always felt like, oh, I just don't want to do that. Like, why are you gonna gamble with my life? I feel like I have a beautiful life. I just don't want to risk that. And look what happened. Like I believe I never use. I don't think like no one will never gonna know for sure. I'm the only one that I know for myself. And look, I'm end up like dealing with like dealing with cancer. You know what I mean? And I wish like nobody have to go through what I went through. But if it's steroids, like there's any chance to mess with your health, like just don't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm here to prove and to share the word that like you don't need that to be a champ. You don't need that to go there and like have like the best performance. You don't need to go there you don't need to do a steroid to go there like to be able to submit your opponent. You know what I mean? And you can still like go there and put a very exciting match, and people want to see you.
Could I ask, who do you think is the number one right now in jiu-jitsu? Who is the top dog? Who's the best in the world at the moment?
Oh, I believe like Gordon, I have proved that. You know what I mean? He's on top of everything. Like his size, his technique, he has everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm assuming the answer is yes. Any interest in competing against him? I know you met him recently, right?
I have a very good experience like meeting Gordon. It was very good to talk to him. We have like a lunch together here in Hawaii. It was great to get to know him a little bit better. Ariel, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like why I need to go back now to face Gordon, but I'm love to the sport. You know what I mean? I'm a lover to the sport, and when I say to the sport, like I like to feel. I like to train. I like to go compete. I like to feel all the people like technique. When I say technique, I want to feel the games. I would love to be able to just kind of like see how can I go against Gordon. Doesn't matter if they're competing or training. You know what I mean? Like it would be a pleasure just to feel another high level jiu-jitsu.
Okay, so here's one that I'm dying to ask you as well. Some 7 years ago, we were introduced to a young man named Dillon Danis, and all I knew about Dillon Danis was that he was a product of your school and a product of yours. And it's like, oh, this is a Marcelo Garcia student who is helping Conor McGregor. Since then, we all know what's happened with him, and we know that he is no longer a part of your school and left the gym. Could I ask,
Yes.
first things first, what is your side of the story? I've never had the opportunity to ask you about this. I've talked to him about it, but never asked you about it. What happened between you and your gym and Dillon Danis?
Well, it was is a lot was a lot of like a little things that like when you put together becomes like a big thing. And like I mentioned to you guys, Ariel, like I was dealing with a lot at home, you know what I mean, with my kids being born. I ended up losing like my 4 months old, you know what I mean, and what was a lot to me to handle, you know what I mean, like dealing with my family, and at the same time I was in the gym every day, teaching every day. And I saw like Dylan was just not being respectful with the situation. Every day I was dealing with like a problem over problem. And I knew they're getting prepared to go compete. And I just told them like, oh, I don't want you guys train here right now. You guys need to take a break. You and Munchie have to just like take the time to think about what you guys doing on your behavior, you know. And I give them like a time off from the gym, you know. But obviously, like at the same time that I give time off, they are definitely like free to leave if they have to, you know what I mean. And they end up leaving and never come back. But I always left the door open to come back as long like they have a different like a behave based on like on the rules in our gym, you know. Because look, we train really hard, but in my gym, but we always have like a good like environment people feel good about, and people just complain a lot about like that was not going their way when they're around, you know what I mean. People was having hard time to deal with the like the behavior they're doing. And imagine like being a young father and dealing with all those things that like I was dealing at home, and try to run a business at the same time, and people being mature around you. Just so you have idea, at one time the last thing that they're doing, they just start to prank call my instructor, but serious like every day, like becomes like, and my instructor didn't know what it was, and it was like a thread with stuff like that, and it's just like a causing chaos, a problem in the gym too much, you know.
Hmm. And what has become of him now? What do you when you see you knew him very well as a young man? What do you make of what has become of Dillon Danis?
Oh, Ariel, I like to say that I just don't follow him. I just
Okay.
don't know what's going on with him. The very little thing that I hear from him, like it's not a lot. I just don't know too much about him now. What's going on? I mean, I hope he's doing better. I hope like I know he went through like some tough time. You know, what I mean, I don't know if you know what's going on. But I felt like he has a little bit difficult, you know, to deal with like situations that their life throw on us. You know what I mean? I just hope he's doing better. You know what I mean?
Does it make you sad? Would you like to reconnect with him and help him get on the right path again?
Yeah, I like to reconnect with everyone that is being part of my life, and for some reason, like I would just disconnect. You know, he sent me like a good message
Oh,
after I announced that I have cancer, and I thought that was gonna be a good way to reconnect. You know what I mean? But then after that, just like things just went down again. I felt, you know what I mean? So we never really reconnect. You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like I like to help people around me, you know what I mean? But sometimes if they don't want to be around me, like I cannot just reach too far, you know what I mean? If I reach too far, I feel like I lose control from what is around me, you know.
well, I think that would be very nice, but obviously I understand that it's a very complicated situation. This is very cool that you are coming back. I'm really excited about this, and I love what's happening with jiu-jitsu right now, with all the characters and all the different promotions popping up and shining a light on it. I would love one day to see it in the Olympic Games. Do you think we ever see jiu-jitsu make it to the Olympics? I feel like it's long overdue.
I believe could happen, you know what I mean? But I don't know if maybe it's just gonna be even bigger than Olympic, you know what I mean? When I say the Olympic, like maybe the just doesn't need to go to the Olympic, you know what I mean? It's gonna be such like a professional sport, like a MMA. You don't have MMA today in the Olympic, you know what I mean? I just want the jiu-jitsu to keep growing, just because like I feel like we need jiu-jitsu in our life, And the reason why, because we get connect to people deeply, and that's my whole goal, in jiu-jitsu.
I love it. Well, again, welcome back. Good luck. Thank you for coming on and breaking the news. And we will be watching, looking forward to it very much. And again, congratulations on beating cancer. There's the poster right there, Friday, January 24th. Garcia against Imanari, legends. What a pleasure. 170 going down in Thailand. The legend Marcelo Garcia joining us. Thank you so much for the time, and good luck to you next month.
Thank you, Ariel.
All right, there he is, the great Marcelo Garcia. I mean, that is royalty, my friends, absolute royalty. Thanks for watching this video. Hey, before you go, do me a favor, hit that sub button, give us a thumbs up, hit the little bell thingy as well. Leave us a nice comment or two. We appreciate you all very much.